Hello and welcome back to Wreck to Wicked. This is episode 2 of our Aston Martin rebuild series. Before we get into the rebuild, I just want to say thank you. The last video reached nearly 700 views and brought in 26 new subscribers. That might sound small, but it means a lot to me. And we are just getting started. So let's get back to the rebuild. And today we are going to remove all the frame parts from the chassis itself. So we are cutting out all the B pillar parts and also the A pillar parts. And I also have to tell you, we have a really big issue. So I'm gonna show you this now. I wrote Euro fares for the parts we need. I also wrote the VIN number, everything from the car, and then they replied me. This is what they wrote me. So if you have a look and this email. Unfortunately, Aston Martin will not supply the A and P pillars to us due to these parts being chassis items. These can only be ordered to Aston Martin approved body shops. As you know, we are no Aston Martin approved body shop, so we cannot order the parts we need. So we have to buy them used, and when you buy them used from any part dealer, they always cut the rear panel or rear quarter somewhere here, or front part of the chassis. They cut it normally in the section like here. So we are missing the whole frame rail on the side we really need to repair this car. I also texted some suppliers on eBay, but they did not respond to me by now. If they can leave this part in one section and only cut it like this part, so we're getting the whole left side of the chassis. But at the moment I do not know if we can find any supplier that will sell this whole part to us, or even has this whole part for sale by now. So if you know a place where I can buy this part, please let me know in the comments. You really will help me out to get this build going on. So let's go. First, we had to remove the bolts from the seatbelt bracket. Then we moved the seatbelt out of the way to have better access to the frame. Here you can see that the frame has split open. This is a bonded structure, not welded, and the impact caused the adhesive joint to fail. Next we remove all the bolts from the emergency brake and also disconnect the cable or the wires to it. We had to remove the carpet to get access to the last bolts of the emergency brake. Then we continued to move the wires out of the way. We also had to unscrew the footrest to be able to remove the carpet. So we just found more hidden damage. I'll show you. So it looks like the crash from this side has also damaged or bent this section of the frame. Then we started to cut out the A-pillar section of the frame. I had to cut everything out in small sections because the bonding compound on the frame is extremely strong. I had to drill out the rivets because this frame is not only bonded but also secured with rivets. Then I used the punch to break the glue and release the frame section. We used the cordless saw to cut out the rear frame sections. I had to be really careful here to not damage any of the good stuff. After removing the rivets, we were able to take out the frame section. This is one of those parts of the rebuild where you really slow down. There's no rush here and no single moment where everything suddenly comes apart. It's just working through the frame rail section by section, taking a little bit off each time. You cut, you open it up, and you move on again. It gives you time to think about how the damage happened and how much force must have gone through the structure. Jobs like this aren't about making fast progress, they are about doing things properly. It might look repetitive, but every small step here matters. This is the kind of work that never really gets noticed, but it's what makes the rest of the rebuild possible. So guys, this is the first part of the frame rail we removed now, and all the red stuff you can see here and also here is the 2-component glue that put on from factory, and I didn't expect that it's that strong, and it was really hard work to remove only this small piece of panel or frame rail by now, so we have to pay attention also on the A-pillar parts beneath here that are not damaged at the moment, and also on the B pillar we have to pay attention that we do not damage more of the good stuff behind it. So I didn't expect that it takes that long, but yeah, we have to remove it because otherwise we cannot repair it. And so now we are going to move on, remove the A pillar section from the frame rail and B pillar. And then we are finished with the upper frame rail part, I hope so. This is one of those moments where you really understand how these cars are built. Even after serious side impact, the bonding material is still holding the structure together. That level of strength is impressive, but it also comes at a price. Because the bond is so strong, removing each individual frame section takes a huge amount of time. Every rivet has to be drilled out, and every bonded joint has to be carefully separated. It's slow, it's difficult, but it's the only way to do this rebuild properly. As I remove this crash sensor, there's a small but fascinating detail worth pointing out. Beneath the Aston Martin label, you'll actually find a Volvo marking. When the Vantage was developed and built around 2005 to 2006, Aston Martin was part of the Ford Motor Company, just like Volvo at the time. That connection explains why so many Ford and Volvo components found their way into this Aston Martin. It's one of those little details that reminds you how closely linked these brands were, and how this car was engineered during that era. All the B-pillar sections are now off, so the rear of the frame is finally ready for repair. I wanted to keep this one shorter than the last video,
which ended up being about 20 minutes long. There's already been a massive amount of work just to get to this point, so I couldn't squeeze everything into one episode. Next time we'll be tackling the A-pillar, pulling the dashboard out, and there's also a little giveaway coming up, so make sure you're here for that. Let me know what you think of the rebuild so far in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.